about to make £100,000 from just one property. I know it sounds too good to be true, right? But actually it is true. If you've got a little bit of money sat in the bank right now and you've got a bit of time, you can do a property flip. Now this is where you buy, refurbish and sell the property. And I'm not only going to show you how you can do 100,000 profit in just one deal. If you stay to the end, I'm going to show you a very little known trick on how you can actually make it with only 20 grand in the bank. So first of all, we need to start with how you find the right property in the first place. Well, the thing is, a lot of people, they end up going to these rough areas and thinking, I'll pick up an absolute steal, but it's the complete wrong way of doing things. And by the way, I see that a lot in the property industry, people doing things quite literally the wrong way round. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna look in your local area for a great area, okay, the highest demand area. So in Leeds, for example, you can buy a 3-bed semi-detached property for £90,000. You can also buy a 3-bed semi-detached property for £600,000. What? Now, where would you go to get your flip? It's not the 90 grand, it's at the higher end of the market. So here's what I would do. I would stack all of your areas, number 1 to whatever, number 10, and I'd probably go down to number 3. So what you don't want is the top end market. The reason for that is when the wind blows, it's the leaves at the top that blow away first. And it's the same in property. It's the highest priced properties that get hit the most. And yes, we want to make a load of money, but we also want to reduce the risk of losing money on the way there. All right. So let's say we've got the 600 grand properties. I'm going to go to the 450 grand ones. So you want to find the worst property on the best street that you can afford. Now, when you're looking at these properties, there's 2 ways to make it. Number 1 is your traditional way, which is buy, refurbish, sell. And another one's called a trade. So a trade is when you find a property where there's a situation with it. An example of this is High Wycombe Road, which I filmed on this channel, where I actually got a over 20% discount due to the vendor situation and made something like £70,000 profit. I bought it, put it straight on the market and sold it. That's a trade. But that's quite rare because you're waiting for the person's situation in order to do a deal. You've got somebody's problem and you're providing a solution to it. So the most traditional way is to add value. Now you might think, right, a big stinky house that you can refurb. Yes, that's fairly obvious, but there are other ways to do it. For example, did you know by clearing the outside space of a property can increase the purchase price by up to 7% in some areas? By focusing on the kitchen and bathrooms in particular of a house, people will pay up to 5% more. Nice to know. Let's really break into how we're going to seriously make money though. The easiest way is to look at the floor layout. I specifically, when I want to make some big jumps in my cash, is I'll look for 2-bedroom properties that have the availability by knocking down a wall, moving some walls around to very quickly turn it into a 3-bedroom property. So a friend of mine does this in London where he'll buy 2-bedroom properties for about 400,000, spend 100,000 making it into a 3-bedroom property and then selling up to £780,000. That's a huge profit margin. In Leeds, we don't really have them at that price doing that, right? But another way is there space around the property? So up, down, back, side. So every single time, every backside, that was a terrible order of wording, but there you go. So the first thing is, can I go into the loft? Really easy to get permitted development, and I'm not going to go into this, but easy ways of getting planning, let's say, to go up in the loft and add an extra bedroom. Can you go outside? Is there a big garden? Maybe you can extend either on the floor or 2 floors. But what about the side? So another property I want you to remember, if you're new to the channel, you won't remember it, is Stamford. So you see the property with 2 double garages next to it. And this property, I bought it for £315,000 and it's a semi-detached house with a double garage. Now the reason I really like this is not many people spot this, but what I do, really simple hack, is I'll get the picture and I'll crop the house, I'll copy and paste the house and see if it fits. I know that's a very simple way of looking at it, but in general, if it's in an area that allows for more property to be built, which you can just check out on the map, by the way, and then when you look at it, if it fits there, I will likely get planning. So what did I do? I got planning to knock down the 2 garages, build a house, which cost me about 200,000, and then sold the 2 units for above 300,000 each and made £100,000 profit. But that's not actually what was great about the deal. It was the risk mitigation. Remember, rule number 1 of investing, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. So the real thing with this is, if I didn't get planning, I could have extended the house over the 2 garages and added 2 further bedrooms, which would have increased the value of the property by over £100,000. Now, top tip with this, if you're doing a refurbishment, make sure you're not going over the top, especially with the bigger refurbs that are going on. You know, maybe you're doing a full backed brick, ripping it all out, and then what you start doing is going, wouldn't it be lovely? Wouldn't it be lovely if this happened? Wouldn't it be nice if that went on? Oh, do you know what would look amazing there is this? Do you know what? I think we should put these new windows in as well. And if we put in the new windows in, why don't we do new architraves there? Why don't we do a new entrance? What about a porch? Like a really nice entrance piece. And it's like, you're not living there. Stop placing your emotions onto this. It is an investment property. You are there to make money. So, always go, who is my end user? What's the exit? Who's buying this? Is it somebody that's got so much money they'll just pay for all of these frivolities? Or is it a young family that's buying their first house to have their kids in? They're going to care about different things. They're not going to throw money at it. They're thinking a bit more frugally. They want a safe house in a safe environment that's calm. You're going to make it more neutral, for example, so that they can put their stamp on it. Always think of the end user before you do any works. Now, I promised you that I would let you know of a way you can make the same money by starting with a lot less, and that's something called an assisted sale. So if you want me to do a separate video on assisted sale, put AS in the comments, and if I get above 50 of them, I will create a video specifically for you guys, because it's an amazing strategy. But in general, what you can do in some situations, and it is very unique, the situation, is the person can move out of their property. You take control of the property, so you don't actually buy it, but you legally take control of the property. Maybe you give them £5,000 to help with some moving costs. You then do the refurbishment on the property, sell the property, and then take the profit. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a £300,000 property. They want £300,000. It's going to cost £50,000 on the refurbishment, making this up, and then you're going to sell it for £400,000. Well, that sounds like a great deal, but by the time you put stamp duty, cost of finance and everything, you'll make very little profit. But they're insisting on the 300. Well, here's about, I'll pay you the 300. I'll give you £5,000 up front. There you go, move out. You then spend the 45 on refurbishing it. Normally it's a lot less, but I'm giving figures. You then sell it for the 400. So you've sold it for 400. You pay the vendor 300. You've got your 50 grand back, and you've just made £50,000 profit on that example. And by the way, if you want the assisted sale video, I'll show loads of examples of ones we've actually done so you can get real numbers. The best one I've ever done is I put 20,000 in and got £180,000 profit. Sounds crazy, right? But you don't need to own a property. You need to take control of it. It was J.D. Rockefeller that said, own nothing, control everything. And if you've got a lower amount to invest, this could be your opportunity. And by the way, I don't often mention this company, but if you're watching this and you're thinking, wow, I really want to get educated, I'm ready to take it to the next level, then I do actually have an education company where we actually train people to do this properly, build their own portfolios, deal package for other people, essentially teaching you one-on-one in some cases, in groups in others, showing you what I actually do to make money, and more importantly, how you can do that too. If that sounds like you, put education in the comments, and what we'll do, we'll send you a link and you can book in a free one-to-one strategy session and just make sure that we're right for each other before we move on. If you're watching this channel for the first time and you got value from this video and you want to find out more about property, then make sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell. I genuinely would love to have you back. Ultimately, I love doing this content, but it's not for me, it's really for you. So let me know in the comments, is there anything in particular you want to learn? Let me know, I'll make a video on it. If you did get value, it takes 2 seconds but helps me out so much if you just tap that like button. Takes 5 seconds, and if you do, I'll reward you in the next video.